She helped lead the most significant. That's why I'm voting for Kamala Harris. She helped lead the most significant. That's why I'm voting for Kamala
Is that
Harris.
baby oil?
She helped lead the most significant.
Little Diddy head
That's why I'm
poking out.
voting for Kamala Harris.
Oh
She
no!
helped
Oh
lead the
Leo!
most significant.
Oh Leo!
That's why I'm voting for Kamala
How
Harris.
the mighty have
She
fallen.
helped
All right,
lead the
that's
most
enough. That's enough.
significant.
Fucking Leonardo. What are you doing, guy?
He didn't lead shit. Welcome aboard to the Cash and Capital Podcast, Episode 6. The Diddy and Epstein full expose. Honestly, it's can't be a full expose because we're only going to be here like an hour and a half or so. We don't want to be here. We could be here 24 hours going through the stuff that's out there.
And
we're going to cover the main stuff. I think it's best. The whole podcast is probably going to be best summed up in this way. I think this really kind of covers it right here.
You take the Epstein guest list, combine it with the Diddy guest list, and you've got all the celebrities coming out to support Kamala Harris, smack dab in the middle of the Venn diagram. Hello, Zachary, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Cash and Capital. Idaho Bob, let's go, my friend. We can't do a full expose only because we don't want to get the stream shut down, right? Not even YouTube or Rumble will let us show all the videos that we've got. Hillary is watching.
Just so we make this clear, I am super happy with everything in my life. I don't take any medications. I am in no way suicidal, and Marcel's going to be exactly the same. Yeah. So there's so much. Let's jump in. Epstein. Let's get right in there.
No.
Well, actually,
don't show the video. Don't show the rated R video. Save that for later.
Before we get to that, let's talk a little more about the Leo thing. Because we had that video, and I mean, it's a funny little intro with the baby oil and Diddy's head poking out. And here, here's the...
These storms have done an estimated $100 billion in damage and make...
climate change.
No mistake.
These
unnatural disasters were caused by climate change. Donald Trump continues to deny the facts. He continues to deny the science.
He's a
he withdrew the United States from the Paris Climate.
So wait a minute. The party of people who claim to follow the science say that there are more than two genders. Yeah, okay, makes sense. All right, moving along.
Accords and rolled back critical environmental protections. Now he's promised the oil and gas industry that he'll get rid of any regulation they want in exchange for $1 billion donation. Climate change is...
I'd like to see him fucking prove that. That sounds like a bogus fucking claim to me.
Just more ridiculous
lies. Where's this
lies.
$1 billion donation? They make this shit up on the fly. Look at him. What a fucking piece of shit. All right, moving on. Anyways, he sits there and he whines and cries at climate change. And Kamala. Well, I wonder why he's coming out. Because honestly, who gives a fuck? I mean, I can't imagine there's a single person on planet. Well, there probably is. As sad as that is to say. But who says, oh my God, like, I didn't know who I was going to vote for. I wasn't sure if I was going to be Trump or Kamala. And then Leo come out and said, climate change. Oh my God, I know who I'm going to vote for now. I can't imagine this sways anybody. How could this possibly send anybody over the edge? I just don't understand. Well, here's why. Because they know this really doesn't change anything. They know it does. They're not stupid either. We should never, ever think the other side is stupid just because you never underestimate your opponents. Ever. Always assume they have at least a basic intelligence. But here's why.
And I'm sure that's probably not public information yet, but who's the person that's number one on that invitation list?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
And I can get on that list.
Yes,
right?
without a doubt, you are invited.
That is so generous of you. Cheers to that.
See you at the white party.
Uh-oh.
Well, isn't it?
Oh no,
Who's
look at
number
that.
one on Diddy's list? Leonardo DiCaprio. Well, imagine that. I wonder why he's coming out like this. That's weird. It's weird, right?
There's probably
How's
high
that?
hopes
Oh.
for some pardons to go around after if Kamala were to win, but I think we've all seen that the only possibility of that happening is the cheat. So, is the cheat able to do it, or is it going to be too big to rig? That's the only question. Because every single celebrity that's come out to endorse Kamala Harris at this point is either directly linked to Diddy, Epstein, or both. For example, even recently, Bill Gates has come out to support Kamala Harris' presidency. And, well, let's just say that he's been to Epstein Island dozens of times, where I'd like to clarify 37. So, yeah, literally 36 times, 37 different times. Whereas I'd like to clarify for people who are, anti-Orange Man, who don't like El Donaldo Trumpo, like to think that he flew to Epstein Island. That's actually incorrect. Donald Trump did fly on Epstein's plane in the domestic United States with his family, but never once flew or visited Epstein Island in any way whatsoever. So those that are wondering,
Miami Herald,
decades before he became president, Trump flew 4 times in 1993, once in 94 and once in 95 and 97 that had been documented in portions of the flight log previously released. The flights were all between Palm Beach and New York City airports, with the June 94 flight stopping at Ronald Reagan Airport between Palm Beach and New York. So we have very clear evidence and clarification that Donald Trump has never visited the Epstein Island, which Ellen DeGeneres, of all people, has as her backdrop on her show, or should I say had in the past tense.
Yeah.
Since she got canceled.
And it's funny because they always throw out, oh well, Trump's friends with Epstein. Trump's friends. You know what? Number one, if there really was any meat on that bone, don't you think that shit would have been all over, like everywhere's, like a million? Here's the actual facts to this. What Marcel just said. He never flew to the island. He always it was between New York and Palm Beach, and they were friends. Sure, you can be friends with somebody, and then when you find out they're a piece of shit scumbag, then you can tell them to fucking get bent. I mean, that's kind of how I feel about it. But here we go. I'm going to bring this here. Epstein and Trump were friends in the late 1980s and early 1990s. By the way, Epstein was arrested in 2019. Just so you clear that up when that happened. So they were friends late 80s, early 90s. Although the relationship reportedly soured after they both vied for the same pricey Palm Beach property. That wasn't really it. After Epstein hit on the teenage daughter of a member at Mar-a-Lago, after which Trump banned him from the property and said, I don't ever fucking want to talk to you again. So once he found out he was a scumbag piece of shit, he said, beat it. And this was reported in the Miami Herald, which is a huge Democrat rag of a newspaper. Uh, you know, they reported this, and so that way. So your left-leaning friends who are like, "Oh, that's Fox News saying that. That's some Republican that says that." No, this is your Democrat piece of shit rag saying that Trump kicked him out, banned him because he's a scumbag piece of shit, and then never wanted to deal with him again.
That's right.
So there's the real facts on that whole situation. Because I think it's incredibly funny to me how they always do that. They're like, oh yeah, here it is. This is Trump. He's hanging out with Epstein. He's a pedophile. No, he's not. Get the fuck out. I've never seen anybody fight harder for against pedophiles and sexual exploitation and sex trafficking than Trump. Like, he fights hard against all that stuff, while everybody else is almost feels like they're fighting for it. Like, it's just unbelievable.
Too many
Yeah,
people on
I
the
saw you
far
had the Ellen
left.
DeGeneres.
Yeah, too many people on the far left seem to forget that Donald Trump basically put a lot of protections in place for women and children for being illegally trafficked across the border. And Joseph R. Biden and Kamala Borders-R Harris undid those protections. But again, that's a very convenient truth that a lot of people want to forget about, especially the Trump-hating liberal left media.
Oh yeah. Well, here he is. This is Trump signing an executive order to fight human trafficking.
That's
Our
right.
children are not for sale. We need a president to make sure this doesn't happen. This is him signing that paper, an executive order.
Bravo.
My administration is putting unprecedented pressure on traffickers at home and abroad, and we are freeing innocent victims at every single turn. I was proud to be the first commander-in-chief to attend a meeting of the president's interagency task force established by the Trafficking Victims Protection Act of 2000. In November, I was also the first president to sign an executive order to establish a task force on missing and murdered American Indians and Alaska Natives. Just signed it. And this has a very special focus on women and girls. That's an incredible thing that's been happening, but we just signed it. I've signed 9 pieces of bipartisan legislation aimed specifically at combating human trafficking domestically and around the globe. And in 2018, I signed legislation strengthening the Department of Homeland Security's Blue Campaign, which unified the department's fight against this crisis and increasing public awareness every single day. We have signed more legislation on human trafficking by far than any other administration has even thought about.
There it is. Oh, remember what I said? Anytime what does the left immediately do? But loves to hang out with human traffickers and pedophiles.
There
Here
it
it
is.
is.
Pictures that are 30 years
Here's
old. 30-year-old
nice
pictures.
photos of Trump and Democrat fundraisers put together by pedo Democrats, and he left the Democrat Party. So yeah, I mean, inevitably, any post about Epstein you ever see online is immediately going to have some leftist fucking kook who puts that post on there afterwards, where yeah, oh well, yeah, he's a Epstein Island. No, he's not. He's not. If he went to the island, believe me, that fucking list would be out. That list would be out.
The
They wouldn't be
government
hiding that list.
They would have redacted 3,000 names, but left Donald Trump name there just so that they could put that out there. I think we're all well aware that that's what would have happened. But of course, since he never visited it, you know, people are trying to make it seem as if he's concerned about releasing the list, when in reality he's come out multiple times and for doing so. But Leo DiCaprio is one of many right now that we're seeing coming out to support the situation. Exactly what we've seen happen here with none other than Usher. I think it's very clear that Usher, just about a month and a half ago, was being interviewed and said that he would not support either candidate and would not endorse either candidate. And it only took a short matter of time for Usher to come out after the Diddy list had, or should I say after the Diddy arrests, to dress up in a weird-ass robe and come on stage for Kamala Harris to speak on her behalf. I, for those of you that may or may not be aware, there's a very clear indication there that P. Diddy tried to get custody of Justin Bieber when Bieber was a young preteen, but his parents would not give it to him. But they did grant it to Usher. who very quickly then went over to Diddy and handed the boy off. God only knows the kind of things that he went through. But Usher seems to be right on that same exact boat with Diddy and the rest of their crew.
I have video evidence.
Let's see it. Let's see
Shall
it.
I present it?
Roll the film, my friend.
So this is a classic how it went, how it's going with Usher. Silly Robin.
Oh, excuse me. That was my fault there. I ended up jumping out of the stream accidentally. I will be right back in there one quick second. Here we go.
Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
A little bit
You
of technical
ghosted us.
difficulties
Getting ready
on my
for
time.
Halloween, aren't you?
Yeah, just practicing.
Your ghosting.
Absolutely. Roll the film.
All right, here we go.
I think that behooves artists to come out and speak for Kamala against Donald Trump because he is an existential threat to the country. What do you say to that?
You know what? I don't get too deep into politics. I think voting is an individual choice.
Breaking news tonight, Sean Diddy Combs has been arrested in a Manhattan hotel.
I'm supporting Vice President Harris because she fights. I love you more, but I love Kamala Harris even more.
What a fucking clown. One more time.
Let's
I
run
think
it
that
back.
behooves artists to come out and speak for Kamala against Donald Trump because he is an existential threat to the country. What do you say to that?
You know what? I don't get too deep into politics. I think voting is an individual choice.
Breaking news tonight, Sean Diddy Combs has been arrested in a Manhattan hotel.
I'm supporting Vice President Harris because she fights. I love you more, but I love Kamala Harris even more.
What a joke of an administration. Disgusting people.
Oh man, it's just it's so fucking obvious when you take the time to actually look and realize what's going on. And yeah, I mean, let's go back to the Epstein portion of this real quick. In that, have you noticed the Atlantic? The Atlantic
Guys, the leaked
is
video of
this
Justin Bieber partying with
piece of shit media company that constantly attacks Trump, basically, and basically makes up lies, and then all the other like newspapers and stuff and media organizations use that as a source. Like the Atlantic makes up a fake ass story with no sources on it, and then like the New York Times will use the Atlantic as a source and say, well, the Atlantic is reporting that blah, 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 even though the Atlantic had no source to begin with, and it was just kind of a horseshit bullshit thing that they made up. Well, interesting story about the Atlantic. The owner of the Atlantic, here she is. There's the current owner of the Atlantic on the left in the white swimsuit, hanging out with Ghislaine Maxwell.
Let's see if we can zoom in on that a
She
little
looks
bit.
very surprised.
The view's not all that bad.
But they're good buddies, and she's also good buddies with Kamala. So that, I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this out. Get this out here. Here we go. Here's just a few of the names on the Epstein's flight logs to the island. Now, these are all people who went to the island. These are not just people that were seen photographed at a party with Epstein. Because you got to remember, Epstein was ridiculously rich. He was at all big parties all the time, fundraisers, things like that all the time. So the odds of getting a photograph with him if you are at these kind of soirees is very good, obviously. So just a random picture with Epstein is not incriminating in itself. You got to remember that. There's pictures, I mean, there's one with Elon and like Ghislaine is like photobombing him. She's like kind of like behind him a little bit.
Yeah, behind,
It's almost like
sneaking
how
in.
they filmed like the Lord of the Rings, like how they
Mhm.
had like Gandalf in the front and then like Frodo was like way back here. But it makes him look smaller, but he's right next to Gandalf. Like it looks like he's right next to him, but smaller. But he's actually just standing further back. Um, she's like playing one of those kind of games, standing next to Elon, and like he did he actually even converse with her at that point? And it doesn't even look like they're interacting with each other. It just looks like she's standing behind him, and then there was a photo that was taken. Doesn't surprise me, um, because they will always try to use those kind of things. But here's a list of people who actually went to the island: Bill Clinton, George Mitchell, Michael Bloomberg, Andrew Cuomo, Barbara Walters, Alec Baldwin, Ralph Fiennes, George Hamilton, Dustin Hoffman, Kevin Spacey, Liz Hurley, Lauren Hutton, Janice Dickinson. Okay, Janice Dickinson, she's fucked up. I mean, we've all seen her in some of the stuff that she that doesn't surprise me one bit. Naomi Henry Kissinger, Joan Rivers, Courtney Love, Mick Jagger, Phil Collins. Oh, Phil. There's going to be a lot of names on this list that you're going to be like, man,
Yeah, it's
fuck.
disappointing.
Richard Branson.
It's very disappointing to see a lot of these people on this list, but it's kind of an inevitability.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
There we go. I can hear you. Are you back in business?
Oh, we're good.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, Seth Green, Steven Spielberg, Tom Hanks, Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel. Oh, huh. I wonder why their shows are the way they are. That's kind of weird. Uh, Barack Obama, Kevin Spacey, Oprah Winfrey, Beyonce, who just came out yesterday. By the way, the Dems are pissed about Beyonce because like 30,000 showed up to see Beyonce. She spoke for like 2 minutes and then left, and they were like, "What the fuck?" And they left. Good.
I like to clarify on that, on specifically Kevin Spacey. A lot of people, including myself, used to be big Kevin Spacey fans. And when I found out that he had visited Epstein Island, well, let's just say that I lost a lot of respect for the guy, especially after having been a big fan through his movies over the years. And then the Netflix show House of Cards, which gives you a very good inside look as to how things happen in the White House, even though obviously it's a fictional show, but it's a lot closer to reality than people think. House of Cards is a lot closer to reality than most people understand. And the same thing goes for the hedge fund show Billionaires, or should I say Billions. Billions is much closer to Wall Street and hedge funds than most people would actually like to imagine. Obviously, with some fictionalized things there specifically for TV. But it became very clear when Kevin Spacey was formally accused of having molested multiple underage boys, right? I can't even say men because they were underage, but multiple underage boys at parties before the last season of House of Cards, to the point where Netflix actually had to go ahead and replace him and rewrite the entire last season of House of Cards. So we never really got to see the show in the way that it was intended to be. Instead, his wife in the show, the lead, the supporting actress there, took the lead character's position through some plot twists, and that was really disappointing in general to see the show turn out that way. But it's good to see that some people and some companies are not supporting celebrities after these kinds of allegations. But Kev, he's just one of many on this list who have been accused of these things. And I think we could just go on and on down the list here of people that have visited the island, people that have been accused, and people who have, been formally charged or had settlements against them or with others.
There's only one reason to ever go to that island. Unfortunately.
Yeah, look at even there's what do you have there?
Yeah,
My apologies. Marshall Mathers. Eminem.
Yep.
For those of you guys that don't know, who just recently came out and also, what was it, maybe about 3 or 4 days ago, voiced his support for Kamala Harris, for Lion Kamala.
There's an interesting connection there. I'm going to bring that up now. Rachel Handler.
The child handler.
Here's Rachel Chandler.
Yeah,
but
that's
here
her.
she is with Eminem, and here she is with Diddy, and here she is with Clinton on Epstein's plane in the upper left.
Yep, exactly. And they call her that because she was a child handler. It was one of the people that helped to traffic.
She's the one who brought the girls.
Traffic these girls into Epstein Island.
Yep, she worked for Balenciaga. I've got the details on this here. Who's Rachel? In 2018, we dug up evidence that Rachel Chandler provided models for Balenciaga, which, as we know, Balenciaga has had some very sketchy children portrayals in their advertising and shit. But that's a whole nother discussion. But she was trafficking children for Hillary and Bill Clinton's close pal, Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, I mean, you don't even want to go down that rabbit hole. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. But that is a big link between the Epstein list and the Diddy list. And it doesn't shock me. It doesn't shock or surprise me that there is links between the two because it's the same behavior. It's the same behavior by the same group of elite fucking people. Whether they be Hollywood, whether they be, sports, whether they be politicians, whatever it is they are. This is you wonder, are there really this many sick people? And the answer, unfortunately, is yes. That's the number one part. But here's the number two part. Some of these people maybe initially weren't. Okay, I'm going to put it that way. And then they were given the promise of riches. They were given a Satan's contract, basically, of, hey, we can make your career, be it political or Hollywood or music or whatever it is, we can have your career blow up. We can do that. We can make your career blow up. But here's what you need to do. We're going to take you to the island, or we're going to take you to a Diddy party. You're going to do X, Y, and Z. We're going to videotape it. And you do everything we say, or we release the fucking tapes. And it sounds crazy, but you look at the evidence in front of you. Look at how these people, and how they're not using any logic or common sense, how they just blindly support. And that it's like, how many times have you asked yourself, what do they have on that guy? Why would he say, like, lately I've been saying that a lot about Mark Cuban. What do they have on that guy?
It's bad.
Because that guy is supposed to be smart. He's supposed to be smart. And that guy is fucking dumb as shit lately. Like, with the shit he's saying. That's you have to understand that when you remove your bias from the equation and you just look at it on its face, and you look at somebody like Mark Cuban, who is saying things that are completely illogical and don't make sense. Why is he doing it? Well, somebody has something on him, or he's being paid to do it. Well, is he being paid to do it? You know what? Do you really think there's a number that somebody could pay Mark Cuban that would make him say shit? I'm pretty sure the guy's got plenty of money. He don't need somebody to fucking pay him a couple mil. Couple millies, like a 10 spot to us for him. Like a couple mil, and they're like, "Hey, Mark Cuban, can you say this?" He'd be like, "I don't need your money." So money doesn't matter to a guy like that. So what does matter? His reputation, his ego. That's what matters. So they're like, hey, Mark, we got a picture of you, diddling a kid, or it looks like you diddling a kid. And maybe he did. Who knows? I don't know. We don't know that.
I've got some information
But
here.
with what he's saying and how he's saying it. Oh, you got some? You
I've
got
got some
something there,
information
boss?
here I'd like to share. And you guys can take a peek at it here. This is a filing from a European soccer player's brother. Now, that European soccer player's name is Dirk Nowitzki. That's not the Dirk Nowitzki from the NBA. He is a European soccer player. And his brother, Jonathan Nowitzki, in 2012, filed a lawsuit against Mark Cuban for assault, libel, and slander. And I will put a link to it up in there. But basically, this lawsuit states that Mark Cuban physically and sexually assaulted Jonathan Nowitzki, the soccer player's brother, at Cuban's home where they went to go watch a basketball game. So this is something that has been floating around for quite a while, since 2012, and was basically kind of secret for a really long time. Not many people actually knew about it. But I believe, so it's obviously very clear that Cuban is, one, gay, and two, likely has a lot of other skeletons in his closet. So I just like that to be known. And I'm going to put that in the chat for anybody that would like to see it, so you can go visit it for yourself. I'll drop it down in the comments after the video as well.
Not a shocker.
Not a shocker at
Honestly,
all, but you can
it's
only
not a shocker.
imagine the other kind of shit that they have on him at Epstein Island, at Diddy's parties, at all these other places. But yeah, this is just one of many situations. And when Mark Cuban has, tried to sexually assault or physically assault people and tried to cover it up. So we can only begin to think that his trying to get Kamala Harris elected by telling a lot of falsehoods is likely, one, to cover up a lot of issues with his own private life, and two, because he has openly come out on CNBC and said that he would like to be the head of the Securities Exchange Commission. And that would be an absolute tragedy. As we've seen, Cackling Kamala has already said that she would make Gary Gensler, of all people, the head of the United States Treasury. Gary Gensler is currently the head of the Securities Exchange Commission. So as the chairman of the SEC, Kamala would like to make him the head of the United States Treasury to take over my ex-girlfriend, Janet Yellen, old Yeller as we like to call her here on this channel. And hence Mark Cuban is trying to snake his way into the Securities Exchange Commission chairman position. For what reason, other than probably to help himself and his friends to do very nefarious white-collar crimes, if you will. But go ahead, Aaron. Don't let me hold you up, my friend, if you've got other videos or film that you'd like to show.
Well, it's an interesting conundrum that we're in right now, because I want everybody that's listening or watching, either live or later by replay or whatever it is, I want you guys to just think about something just for a second. In that, it's obvious there is a blackmail scheme. It's obvious. The evidence is there. It's all over the place. And we've just shown a few examples. And if you actually do a little bit of digging, you'll find a lot more examples. There's tons of them. So there's a blackmail scheme. Now ask yourself this crazy question. Look who is in charge of the Justice Department right now. Okay? And how they have weaponized the Justice Department. And then ask yourself, why did Diddy get arrested? Why did he get arrested? Why did he get arrested? And why did they search his home? Because the Justice Department or the FBI or whatever fucking corrupt branch of the government now has possession of all the blackmail material. Think about the timing on all this, guys. Just before the election, Diddy gets raided, gets arrested, all his blackmail, poof. Department of Justice, FBI now owns all of it.
Aaron, I'd like to ask you, who's the only former or current United States president and his wife/husband that has ever been to these Diddy parties?
Big Mike. Big Mike.
Big Mike and Barack Obama.
That
He's
would be
referencing.
Barack Hussein Obama.
Correct.
Yeah, Big Mike. That's we could do a whole podcast on that. That'd be funny.
And we probably should, but for those that aren't aware, the Department of Justice was aware, as Aaron pulls this up, the Department of Justice is well aware that if they didn't go after Diddy now, that under Trump, the Department of Justice would have gone after Diddy, and they would have then had their hands on the videos of Beyonce, Jay-Z, Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, or shall we say Michael Obama, and all of the other people there that had visited those.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Wow.
That's probably what Will Smith did at those parties.
I mean, you know, he is on the island list, Will Smith. And look at his career. And granted, it sucks because I really liked a lot of his fucking movies. But I'm just saying, I can't watch any of his stuff. Same with Tom Hanks. I can't watch any of his stuff anymore.
Yeah, I
used to like
find it
some of
really
his
sad.
movies. It's really, really sad. The level of
Depravity,
corruption, depravity, corruption. It's levels like we can't even. It doesn't even seem. Again, this is like my catchphrase for the fucking show. Is this even real? Is it even real? Is this even happening? Yeah, it is. It really is. And the evidence is there for you. It's out there. And I'm so glad. I'm going to say this again too. I am so glad that Elon bought Twitter because I really fear for where we would be right now without it. I really fear where we would be without Elon owning Twitter. Does that mean I think he's a perfect human being? No. Does that mean I like every decision he's ever made? No. Does that mean now with X, I don't get banned every 3 minutes because I say, I like Trump? Banned! Fuck! Again! Shit! Maybe Biden's not a good choice. Banned! Fuck! No! I don't feel comfortable taking a vax. Banned! Oh, shit! Like, that's how it goes. Like, that's what it was. It was mental. And that doesn't mean you go on there and you throw racial slurs around and fuck you and you're a piece of shit and I want you to die and blah blah blah. Don't be a stupid asshole. That should get you banned. Don't threaten people. Don't do that kind of stuff. Be smart. But you should be able to be allowed to have discourse and have a conversation and say, hey, I feel this way about this or I feel this way about that. And we can do that again. And information is actually getting out and it's not getting censored. Sometimes there's a little bit of throttling because the Democrats, they play their games. They got their little groups of like 1,500 people or whatever. And if they find a post they don't like, all 1,500 will report it. And, and that's how that thing happens. You guys got to understand that it's not necessarily Elon is throttling your account or Twitter or X or whatever is throttling your account because you're a conservative voice. It's really not the case. What's really happening is Democrat operatives get together, hire bots to mass report you, and then you get throttled. So they're taking advantage of the system. And my morning mayhem on Rumble here has been quite talkative. So I want to bring some of this stuff. I love Kevin Spacey. House of Cards was awesome. I hate the downfall of Spacey, but I'm cool with any Epstein pedals having a downfall. It's a solid point. It's not a money thing. It's a controlled blackmail thing. It's an excellent point. And I put the link in there, and the one pulling the strings for the current administration saw that's the Obama, and saw the new Bad Boys movie, enjoyed it, but felt dirty for supporting Will Smith. uh, yeah, Twitter is about the only place I can find some news stories. Google and others are suppressing so much. And they are. You're right, my morning mayhem. They really, really are. And that's why, again, it's so important that we have X in the state that it's in. Is it perfect? No. Will it ever be perfect? Probably not. But for the most part, you can speak your mind. For the most part, you can find anything you want to find. Okay? Except for, illegal shit. Well, even some of that you can find on there if you really fucking want to. But I will say this, some illegal things that were prevalent on Twitter before are almost non-existent now and don't last long if they're on there. They used to post all kinds of kitty fucking bullshit on Twitter. That was part of the Twitter files or whatever.
That's
and they
true.
didn't give a shit about that. And now with Elon, fucking that shit is non-existent. Guess what? Facebook still has that problem, but they don't give a fuck about it. They let it happen. But Twitter is pretty much clean of that now. Does that mean you're not going to see tits and ass of an adult female? You're probably going to see that. There's a lot of those bots too. But it's an adult app. It is an adult app. It's really, Twitter is definitely not for children. I wouldn't recommend any children getting on fucking Twitter. It can be brutal. It can be brutal, but it is also honest in that you can put your opinion up there. You can put a video up there, of evidence or sauce or whatever it is, and you're not going to get taken down for that unless it's inherently violent. Like, if you're calling for violence on someone, yeah, you're probably going to get banned. If you called somebody, an F and F F and N F and N R, C, J, whatever that is. I haven't been called a J in a long time. Anyways, if you get called a bunch of letters, words, that you wouldn't like maybe say in church, you might get banned for that, just for being a hateful prick. But I mean, they'll let you come back. That's the other thing. I've seen so many people bitch about getting, I got banned for a day. I got banned for a day. I got banned for a week. You're still here. People aren't getting permanently banned anymore.
Aaron, I put a couple of videos that I would like it if you could share them with everybody right now. Just drop them over in our Discord there for you to show. And I'm going to put a third one right now about Diddy's phone call from prison and his specific references to pizza. Just do me a favor and play that one last. But I just dropped them in there right now for you to check out. Let's take a peek at this, ladies and gentlemen, because you guys need to see this shit.
You want them in order then?
Sure, yeah, why not? Maximize that. Let's get a full screen there. Tony Hinchcliffe of Kill Tony.
Feels good in here. The other side's got a lot of crazy endorsements. Swift, Eminem, Leo DiCaprio, Beyonce. Every day the Democratic Party looks more and more like a P. Diddy party. Oh. Oh, okay. Okay, that's what you guys want.
He's not wrong. Let's see, what do we got here?
Upcoming Netflix documentary produced by 50 Cent will explore allegations against P. Diddy, including claims of satanic rituals at his parties. This documentary promises to delve into these controversial topics. Check this out, folks. It's 50 Cent's documentary.
Will be exposed. I mean, when I walk in, I definitely take pride in being the originator of the preparation of the sex. Little things that I personally like. A lot of ladies, just, so if you don't have what they need, they're going to leave. Right. Got to keep them there. Right. You need locks on the doors. P. Diddy be wanting the body. And you got to tell him no. You got to tell him no. All of these big deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is.
Cat Williams.
It's Cat Williams, voiceover on the video that we just saw there. All of those videos were taken, at Diddy's parties. And if you guys ever seen them, that looks a lot more like something out of the movie Eyes Wide Shut than a lot of people would like to admit. You remember what I'm talking about, you guys, those of you that are over, over 15 years old, over 18 years old, I should say. You've seen the movie Eyes Wide Shut. But
here's the thing, though.
Go ahead, brother.
Is, like you mentioned earlier about, we still get that other video, but you mentioned earlier about that, about TV shows and how close they are to reality. Do you think that's a mistake?
Bingo. There's no mistakes. There's no coincidences.
There is no mistakes. Just like the show The Blacklist, if you've ever seen that, it talks about the cabal. It talks about a lot of the things that we talk about, that we see, and there's a lot of similarities. And the reason they put a lot of these, you would think like, hey, if you're going to be a big like cabal, a big organization doing these evil things, you wouldn't want people to know about it, right? So you wouldn't want to draw attention to yourself, right? It's quite the opposite. Because they put it in TV and movies and everything so much, it desensitizes you to it. It literally, like it's like, oh well, it's just like that show, so it's no big deal. Like that's literally, I mean, everybody feels that way, but I'm just saying that's what they do. They desensitize you to it. If you've taken the time to pay attention and notice how much Satanism has come out over the last 5 years.
Milton.
Just take a moment when you stop and think about how much Satanism has come out over the last 5 years. Look at the Super Bowl with Rihanna. like watch that again. Watch that Super Bowl halftime show with her. Watch that again. Watch like the Olympics opening ceremony. This is just recent. There's an actual show called Lucifer.
Oh yeah, I remember that show.
He comes to Earth, and he's actually not that bad. He's actually pretty cool. Like whether you're religious or not, really think about why that big push is happening. Well, even like in this where was it, in Ohio or whatever, in the town hall, they had the altar to Satan in the town hall, and the guy tore it down and got in trouble with the law for tearing it down and all that shit. Like, just keep your eyes open and think about that kind of stuff, because then once you start noticing, see, that's what it's all about. It's the great noticing. That's what's happening right now, is people are noticing and paying attention and noticing things. That's our jobs right now, is noticing. My morning mayhem says, you just said it. Satan is bold. He knows how to desensitize us and push all that on us. In the end, good will be called evil, and evil will be called good. Just saying. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And I believe that that's part of the pact that people who believe in Satan, that's part of their pact they make with Satan, is that before they do an evil thing, they have to tell you about it first. And now think about a lot of the things that have happened and a lot of the things people have said, and you'll start matching them up yourself. I'm just going to leave that as that we could do a whole podcast on that. Here's the other video, the Diddy leaked call. Let's see what he has to say here.
You guys need to pay close attention to this one.
Yo, listen. Do not entertain none of this nonsense and nothing over the phone. I'm gonna need you to get rid of all the leftover pizza boxes. The what? All the boxes left over from the pizza. All the boxes. Okay. Make sure you recycle the plastic like we talked about. Yeah. What up? Yo, listen. Do not entertain none of this nonsense and nothing over the phone.
Do not entertain none of this nonsense and nothing over the phone. All right.
I'm gonna need you to get rid of all the leftover pizza boxes.
I'm going to need you to get rid of all the leftover pizza boxes.
The what?
The what? All the boxes left over from the pizza. All the boxes.
Make sure you recycle the plastic like we talked about.
Make sure you recycle the plastic like we talked about. Yeah.
I want people to know one thing, Aaron. The reference to girls and boys being pizza and hot dogs is not a conspiracy. That is not a QAnon conspiracy. That is literally from John Podesta's emails in which they requested pizza and hot dogs. Not just a few, but we're talking about 40... How much was it? How much more? A massive amount of money's worth.
50,000 of hot dogs.
Yeah, it was $50,000 worth of hot dogs and pizza for an Obama party. This was directly from John Podesta's emails. And it's been referenced in many other places aside from that. But it is a well-known fact that pedophiles use these key terms to discuss girls and boys of the underage, of course. And it's absolutely disgusting, but these are facts. And if you don't believe me, you can go and look on your favorite search bar, particularly go to Twitter, go to X, and type in John Podesta pizza, John Podesta hot dogs, and you will see exactly what I'm talking about. Don't use Google, because if you may or may not know, they're a giant conglomerate
Google ain't going to tell you shit.
owned by the same people that are in the Epstein's files. Here we go. My man Aaron just pulled it up. What do we have here? The disgusting symbols that they use here. And then regarding the terms, I'm not even going to read this out loud because it's so disgusting. But you can see here they use different things such as hot dog, pizza, cheese, pepperoni pizza, cheese pizza, whatever, chicken, pasta, ice cream, sauce, and they have their symbols. And you're going to find these in many places that are going to shock you now that you know to actually look out for them. Particularly the girl and boy lover ones.
Yeah. Interesting enough in that, is this something that we made up or some kind of bullshit conspiracy theory? No, this is from the FBI. The FBI actually put out these symbols in a memo, and you can find that FBI memo on your own, do your own work, that the FBI has identified these symbols as code words used by pedophiles. So it's there. And once, especially on the left, those symbols, you're going to see them in places you weren't expecting.
Oh, it's everywhere.
You're going to notice those symbols a lot more if you're actually paying attention.
I popped one more video in there, Aaron, if you don't mind showing that one here before we wrap things up. I really think it's important for people to see that.
Yes. Right, here we go. All right. It says P. Diddy was Usher's legal guardian. Justin Bieber literally just turned 15 years old. Usher took Justin Bieber to Diddy for 48 hours, and what they did was undisclosed. But we know what's happened. He's not beating those alligators.
A permit. Not yet.
No.
Right, 16.
No,
16.
Slow down. Let's slow down, Justin.
Okay.
Let's slow down. Okay.
One step at a time.
But yeah, the keys is yours when when you get 16. You good to go.
I'm good to go.
Yeah.
All right.
Then when you get 18, you get the house. Get the mansion.
Okay, I get the mansion. So where are we off to now?
Where would you like to go?
I mean, wherever you want to go. Where are we going?
So check this out, yo. It's like you know, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. You know, I have been given custody of him. You know, he signed to Usher.
Now that is clear grooming if I've ever seen it. It's gross. It's gross. On top of that, there's further videos showing Justin Bieber and P. Diddy interacting a couple years later, where P. Diddy gets angry with Justin Bieber for not staying in contact with him or for not wanting to hang out with him anymore. And I think it's pretty obvious why, with all the recent allegations that are coming out, that there were some serious issues going on there and some very disgusting things. But a full-grown man does not offer a 15-year-old a Lamborghini and a mansion when they turn 18 unless they're trying to groom them, to set them up, to show them that they love them and they want to take care of them simply as a mentor. Especially if you guys notice the way that P. Diddy looked at him and the way that he spoke to him, it was very clear that there's something much more going on there than meets the eye with this guy.
Yeah. It literally makes me like sick to my stomach. Like these fucking gross pieces of shit. And it's just so fucking sad. It's really, really fucking sad.
Did you play that video there?
I'm gonna say.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say this: that the level of when this all finally comes out, because the names that are on the lists between Epstein and Diddy is so massive, and the things that they did are so horrible. I'm glad it's being slow rolled. Honestly, in a way, I wish it would get over with. Like, I wish they would they'd fucking clap the cuffs on these motherfuckers and throw them in jail, get it over with. But I don't know if the general public could handle it. I know I've researched a lot of this shit, and I know about a lot of this stuff, and I still have a hard time coming to grips that this shit is really going on and it's real. Like, it's hard for me, and I'm like I deal with it on a daily, you know what I mean? Like, not on a daily
Yeah.
basis, but I mean, I've dug into this and I've researched this and I've been like, holy shit, this is fucking crazy. And I have a hard time dealing with it. And when it finally comes down and happens, when it finally comes out, here's the Epstein list. Oh my God, Clinton's going to jail. Like, and all these names start getting arrested and start getting tried and put in jail and everything else. And when this shit starts going down, we're going to need to support each other. That's what it is. We're going to need to pick each other up because it's going to break some people. It makes me very emotional even just talking about it. But it is going to break some people. Some people are really going to be broken by this. And that's the only reason that I am glad that it is being slow rolled to a degree, because if it was abrupt, let's say Trump was in office and in 2019 he's like, nah, I'm not fucking playing with this anymore. Here's the Epstein list. Oh, Diddy just got arrested. Here's all the people on his list, and we're putting all those people in jail. While that would be great, I think there'd be too many people that'd be broken. And
Yeah,
this
idols.
slow roll
They're
at least
idols.
gives some people. Yeah, I think the slow roll where the Diddy's coming out and people are a lot more people are expecting, their idols, their the people they look, you know, there's so many names on here that it's unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. And I think a lot of people they're going to be really, really broken over this. And maybe it's not even just the idols, this is I watch their movies or whatever. I think just the knowing what happened and then it becoming real
Mm-hmm.
is immensely sad, but I think it's really going to break some people. And that's where we really need to make sure. This is why it's important that we educate as many people as possible. This is a big reason why that's important, is because then people are a little more prepared for it mentally. They're a little more prepared for it spiritually. And they might weather the storm a little better.
Even here in the chat,
This is,
Aaron,
by the way, this is.
to your point.
What's that?
To your point, even here in the chat, Damian Owen says that he just saw that Prince Harry had been going to Diddy parties now as well. He's just finding this out. And Zachary in the chat says that, damn, Leonardo DiCaprio used to be my man crush, LOL. FML, you know what I mean? It's like, and that's what he said. And I understand that. Like, these are people that you respect and you appreciate and you like them as an actor, as an artist and stuff like that. And you hope to never see them doing something that you consider to be, well, that is, regardless of who you are, it is immoral and illegal and indecent and disgusting to think that these people are out there, doing unspeakable acts with underage children. So it is, like you said, going to seriously negatively impact a lot of people. So I think it is kind of better that they come out with it slowly, because you got guys like Usher and Tom Hanks and Will Smith and Leonardo DiCaprio, and the list just goes on, and women and men that are on this list. Yeah. Prince Harry, Barack Obama, Big Mike Obama, and all these other people that are on these videos and on these lists, showing themselves to do things. Yeah, Chuck Schumer, exactly. So to your point, that, in my opinion, is why they decided to go after him now. Now the Department of Justice and the FBI was able to get their hands on all this evidence. They can destroy the evidence of people like Barack Obama and Big Mike and Chuck Schumer, meanwhile throwing the rest of them under the bus and giving a few of them maybe a pass for doing what they're doing here with the endorsements of Kamala Harris, just like Tony Hinchcliffe of the comedy show Kill Tony said at the Republican convention in Madison Square Garden today, where over 75,000 people are outside Madison Square Garden at the Trump rally right now. Trump is inside speaking to tens of thousands of people, with an additional 75,000 more outside MSG at this very moment. And they're making fun of these guys like Usher and Beyonce, Jay-Z, and all these other cats, Eminem, that are coming out that have been proven to have flown to Epstein Island and have been seen on video many, many times, including cackling Kamala Harris at Diddy parties. So they may as well have been, again, weaponizing the DOJ to make it appear as if they're doing something to prosecute Diddy, when in reality all they're doing is destroying evidence against themselves and their friends and those that come out in their support. So I think that is exactly what's going on here. And that's kind of the whole point of this video, is for people to understand that what you're seeing with the Epstein Island, what you're seeing with the Diddy files, and everything that we're learning about here, it is all directly correlated to a vast number of politicians, mainly Democrats, not because that's what I say, but because that's the names on the lists. That's the people on the videos, the people that have flown to Epstein Island. And very rich billionaires, such as Bill Gates and Bill Clinton, etc., that have flown to Epstein Island, not once, not twice, but dozens and dozens and dozens of times. Meanwhile, you've got those on the other side of the aisle, such as Donald Trump, who has never once flown to Epstein Island. And that's what a lot of people need to be aware of. And maybe trying to get your information from places outside of George Soros and Rothschild-owned mainstream media, outside of MSNBC and CNN, would be ideal in order for formulating a well-educated opinion instead of just opening up your New York Times and reading what it says and thinking that you're well-informed, because you're obviously then only looking at what the far left, also known as the deep state, really wants you to think. When you need to look at everything and combined, come to your own conclusions after becoming well-versed on what people from both sides of the aisle are reporting in order to have a high-level understanding of what's actually happening beyond face value of just orange man bad, and, Donald Trump flew on Epstein's plane. Again, yes, in the United States, never went to the island. Meanwhile, you've got here dozens of people that visited the pedophile island, that people that are greatly respected, like, Demi Moore, John Cusack, Charlie Sheen, Marshall Mathers, Will Ferrell, John Legend, and the list goes on and on and on. So I think that I will leave that as my closing statement. And Zachary also says that it's MJ all over again, but this is worse. And I think that's true because the things that were happening with Michael Jackson, a lot of them were fallacies. A lot of them were incorrect and just, again, shown from one side of the aisle. And a lot of people didn't, at the time, didn't understand that you could get even better information from places like Twitter and Reddit and outside news sources, and only believed what they saw in the mainstream media. Aaron, any closing words?
Yeah, I think MJ is a whole nother topic that could be had, in that he kind of went against the machine, and you see what happens when you go against the machine, and that is a prime example of that. B. Wilcox on Rumble says, hold space and allow these people to come forward with their stories. Many are victims. I believe that could be the case as well, especially with the Diddy parties. There could be a lot of people that are victims. I did want to point out one other name on this Epstein list that we didn't really talk about, was Anderson Cooper, who is also the son of the Vanderbilts, which is another big name in the world money. Let's just put it that way. Do a little research into the Vanderbilts and you'll see. And you'll understand why Anderson Cooper is at CNN and why Anderson Cooper is, the source of news and everything like that. And they've got this blackmail setup that they have is immense. I mean, look at these names. Here's the Diddy list: Jay-Z, Beyonce, J-Lo, Kanye, Kim Kardashian, Naomi, Mary Blige, Leo DiCaprio, Usher, Rihanna, Mariah Carey, Pharrell Williams, Paris Hilton, Justin Bieber, 50 Cent. Says 50 Cent on here. That's an interesting one with the way 50 has come out lately. I here's the thing. Here's a list of celebrities that went to Diddy parties, or a Diddy party. And granted, maybe 50 went to one of these parties and said, holy shit, I can't be here. And that's
I
why
wouldn't
he's so
doubt that at all.
outspoken.
I wouldn't
You
doubt
know what
that
I
at
mean?
all.
Like this is almost like what I said earlier, in that Epstein was at a lot of big to-do kind of parties and fundraisers and stuff, and people having a picture with Epstein is a very common occurrence at those kind of establishments, whatever. It doesn't mean they went to the island. And I'm going to say that about the Diddy list. In Just because they may have attended a party at some point, or there's a picture of them hanging out with Diddy, doesn't automatically make them a guilty person. Um, there may be more to that, and I'm sure there is a lot of people that are in that. Does that mean that everybody is innocent? No, 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 not even close. Um, but it's a blackmail. It's a blackmail economy, is what it is. It's a blackmail economy. That's why he was raided. They now possess the blackmail. There's one of two situations. It's the one I talked about, or there's people in the Department of Justice / FBI, etc., that are quote unquote maybe white hats, and maybe they possess that information now and are waiting for the right time. It's hard to say. We don't have access to that kind of information, but we will. At some point, we will know what's going to happen. We're going to know who's on the Epstein's list. I believe we will know, but I also believe we need to be prepared for it. We need to be ready because it is going to be a massive shock to the system.
I want you to show.
I really think it's going to break
one more video. You're right. I want you to show one more video, Aaron. Right now. And it's a short one just so you guys know. Literally, P. Diddy has Justin Bieber at 15 years old, stuttering, nervous, scared, anxious, when P. Diddy pressured him and asked him in front of in front of a camera, why he didn't want to hang out together anymore. And meanwhile, Diddy was 41 years old in this video. Do me a favor, maximize that, and let's play this shit. We'll leave people with this.
Everything's good? Selling out arenas and everything? Starting to act different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
I mean, you try to get in contact with me, through all my, partners and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But you never really got my number, so.
Right. Okay.
My number?
Yeah. Everything's good?
Everything's
Selling
great.
out arenas and everything? Starting to act different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, you try to get in contact with me, through all my, partners and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But you never really got my number, so.
Right. Okay.
My number?
Yeah. Everything's good.
Does that boy look like he's acting natural? Does he look like he's hiding something to you?
No. A 15 and 41-year-old shouldn't be fucking hanging out. Period.
Thank you, Aaron.
That is not I know it's fucking Hollywood, but it's still not right. That doesn't make it just because something is happening. Oh, it's happening in Hollywood, so it's fine. No, it's not. It's fucking wrong. 41 and 15-year-olds are not supposed to. What could they possibly have in common? Like, no, it's not. That's not normal. It's not normal. And it shouldn't be normalized. And it should never be normalized. And they're trying to fucking normalize it. And that's where we need to, as a collective group, stand up and say, no, this is not fucking normal. This should not be happening. And I've seen more and more of that. And I'm so happy when I see it happen. Where people stand up and say, no, this isn't normal. This shouldn't be happening. And man, that poor kid.
I feel bad for the guy. He went through a lot. That's probably why he had all those issues, in his career. He's probably traumatized by a lot of it. But that's right here. That's why we need this. That's why we need to fight, fight right here. Because I think we've all about had enough of this fucking bullshit from the far left. And that's coming from somebody who previously had voted for Bernie Sanders many years ago. But what the fuck does that tell you? Hillary stole the primary from Bernie Sanders in 2016, went on to lose it against Trump. I never voted for Donald Trump before, but now I am for the first time ever in my life, because we need that more than ever in this country. Cheers, my friends. Make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you very much, Aaron. Thank you, everybody, for being here with us today.